that the left really gets triggered by President Trump and his policies, in the same way, they also seem to get triggered by Israel following similar policies for a long time, and other nations that are starting to move in that direction. Right? So you look out for number one, it's your own nation. How can you even think of helping other nations? If you're weak at home, you have to be strong, then you can help other people, but you have to defend your own people first. It makes perfect sense. And that is something that in the age of Trump really made a comeback, and that is common sense. So, Roseanne, if you're listening to this, my first question is really relating to the chicken or the egg type of argument. Which came first? And that is, do you think that the left in general, and even people in the National Security Council, the State Department, even the CIA, that they had set policies, that they had the Obama policies for many years, and that President Trump's pro-Israel stance, even while he was campaigning, really worried them, scared them, that this was really the reason why they started to oppose Trump? Or do you think that they started to oppose the Trump presidency for other things, and that the pro-Israel stuff just made it all worse and they got even more upset? Because, I have my personal view on it, but I would like to have your perspective. Which came first? The triggering because of the pro-Israel statements and stances that President Trump had, even while campaigning, and that really started the ball rolling and got, the whole surveillance with the FBI started because of the pro-Israel stuff, which was really the opposite of what the Obama administration was doing? Or do you feel like it was a bunch of other things, and then the pro-Israel moves during the presidency just intensified the resistance, if you will? Which came first? And what do you think about it?
Okay, well, I'm going to answer that. Let me turn
so
this
my
off.
second question.
Oh, I love Trump Mafia, although, as I've told them over there, they should, be more adult. But who am I to talk? I mean, my God. We try to be funny, and it is a humorous and genius site. But anyway, Jordy, look at my beautiful bathroom. Yeah, well, I should put myself on here, but I don't know how to turn the camera. I am old, you guys. People have to take pity on old folk. We don't know how to use these damn modern contraptions, such as the internet. We try, though. Jordy, thank you so much for that question. That question, first of all, I just want to congratulate you for having the intellectual depth and moral acumen to understand what exactly the pinpoint of the problem is. And, you're asking me a question about Israel, and I'm going to answer it as a Jew, because look at my beautiful mermaid, and I got cool pictures and stuff in my bedroom. I got my own bedroom. That's what's really great about being rich. One of the great things. There's many, many more, and I'll go into that another time. But Jordy, yeah, as a Jew, speaking as a practicing Jew, that's the difference between me and all the left-wing Jews. They don't practice Judaism. It's a very important difference. And the ones that talk like the left, they're always getting folk like me killed because of their obscenities and their lack of understanding of our own history. Of their own people, they know nothing. How do you like them apples? But anyway, and they oppose the sovereignty of their own. How do you get that effed up? I mean, that's called MK Ultra lemming programming, ladies and gentlemen. But Jordy's question. I believe that anti-Semitism, is something that people they are not born with. It has to be stoked. it has to be kept at a low temperature and always simmering because, it's useful to power to throw Jews like myself to hungry dogs in the street who hate the Jews who aren't like me. Anyway, I practice Judaism. I believe in God. I feel God in my body, and that's the age we're going into. We're no longer going to just believe in God or have faith. We're going to feel it in our own body, and that's what Torah is about. Anti-Semitism is a very useful tool of power all through the last 2,000 years of history, and especially around the issue of money. And whenever the people at the very tippy top of the pyramid, none of whom are Jews, by the way, whenever they get close to getting exposed, they blame their middlemen, the Rothschilds and the Jews. It's so classic MK Ultra German lemming mind control program for social, quote, justice, unjustice, or slash injustice, end quote. Yeah, anti-Semitism became a useful tool in the United States. I think particularly in the Bush presidency, and because it allowed for people to take a lot of Arab money, and those are the ones that push it. They're very what do you call that? Renaissance based. It all began in the Renaissance, starting with 1291, the founding of Switzerland and Swiss banks, and the beginning of this banking system that we are all oppressed by. But they like to blame it on the Jews because it keeps the heat off of them, and anyone can find a lot of stuff online as to the truth of what I'm saying if they desire to, elevate themselves out of a state of mind control that really hates God. They hate our God, and they hate our Torah. They think it's the worst book ever written. They think that all oppression comes from it. But yeah, there were the anti-Semites on the left, whom I became acquainted with when I ran for president in 2012 as a socialist in the Green Party, and later as the nominee of the Peace and Freedom Party. I saw how infected the socialist left was with anti-Semitism, which caused me to leave the socialist left. But it's about nothing more than that. And their number one thing, when I would go out to campaign for the nomination, I specifically went to Broward County because everything seems to, not everything, but a number of interesting things come out of Broward County. But that was the stand your ground gun laws that allowed the trial of George Zimmerman, which had such an aspect of anti-Semitism to it. I see now a number of sites, almost mainstream sites on the internet, that would say the Jew George Zimmerman. So I knew it was bubbling up then. But it's been bubbling up for a while. Well, it never really goes out. It bubbles up all the time. And we're coming up on Purim, which begins Sunday night. So I'll make another video for people who want to know about Judaism, because I feel like, it's being erased from the earth. And I've said this for years. I feel like the kind of Jewish crazy horse. It's documenting the end of his tribe. And what the United States did to crazy horse people should acquaint themselves with that history. Because none of us want to live under a government that does things like that to anybody. We don't want to give our tax money to help that out. We want a whole new government that serves the human being and the human structure and human communities and human societies, and not for the few at the expense of the many. They always talk about free markets, and I'd like to do another whole thing on that, because if you are factoring in slave labor, that's not free markets, okay? I'll do a whole economic thing. But Jordy, I appreciate the depth of your question, and I thank you so much for your intent. I felt that it was warm towards me and towards my people, the Jews, and the only Jewish state that exists on earth where Jews have sovereignty, Israel. And, we got to talk about Israel and what Obama did to Israel, too. The Obama administration, it's just, I have to gather the facts because I want to give no emotion. Although you know my emotion, you know how I am. But just the facts, ma'am. Remember that show? Just the facts, ma'am. Joe Friday, I loved him. I'd love to be the new Joe Friday. Just the facts, ma'am. Because that's all that matters is fact, not emotion. Although the left can't understand that because they're under severe self-destructive lemming programming, and I hope they wake up. I do love them so and want them to wake up. I want them to see what I saw, and just to see it, to witness it, because these are biblical times. And of course, we all know the end. God wins. And God bless you, Jordy. Thank you for asking me these things. Bye.